Welcome back to Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. I'm here today to talk to you about Aerodrome and Velodrome price updates. Before I begin, I just want to remind you that nothing in this video is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Also, I do own Velodrome, but I do not own Aerodrome, so please keep that in mind when you're listening to me. And I would love to have you join my free Telegram group, the Snack Pit, for daily chart updates, technical analysis, and a supportive and highly intelligent community of fellow investors like you and me. Let's get started. Aerodrome has one of the most impressive runs of any altcoin that I've seen this cycle outside of maybe the meme coins. So if we want to take a measured move and see just how far Aerodrome came during its run, we could start with its low price right here of just under 7 cents, or around 7 cents, and up to this top here. That, my friends, is a 31x. And if you go back on my channel, we were talking about Aerodrome back when it was down here, and this fool didn't buy any. What can I say? I definitely dropped the ball on that one, but I'm glad many of you did. So, we have seen an incredible move out of AERO, and we know that it can't, just go up forever. But there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines wondering where would be a good re-entry point. And so you can see I've put in my usual suspects here. I've got my Gaussian channel, which is green and concave down now on the daily. And we have the weighted logarithmic Bollinger Band, which AERO has broken through for the first time in mid-April since this thing started back in February. So what a run. Let's just give Aerodrome a round of applause for such an impressive run. So just off the top of my head, I just was looking at horizontal support, and I see my first real big region of horizontal support sort of here in the sub $1 region. I think that there could be a battle at $1. It is an important psychological level, but I see the weighted logarithmic Bollinger Bands opening out. We know Bitcoin hasn't been looking like that great lately, and we are, entering into the green Gaussian channel pretty much without any trouble at all. So I would expect that we would breach this most likely and head into this red zone. I anticipate somewhere in this red zone, and it could go lower, okay? I'm just looking for horizontal support, that we could see some kind of bottoming process form, and you would have a really great opportunity to accumulate some Aerodrome in that region. So that's kind of like my initial thoughts just looking at the chart. Of course, we could look under the hood at maybe some technicals and maybe pull up some whole moving averages, maybe see if we could peel out to a higher time frame. I don't really think we can. I mean, going to a weekly on something with this little data is probably not going to give us much great information. So I'll probably stick to the daily time frame. I think that makes the most sense. In terms of the whole moving averages, yeah, it's bearish right now. No question about it. We don't have a lot of price history, so I can't look at much, but the 20-day whole moving average is acting as resistance, and the 50-day whole moving average is also, I wouldn't even say acting as resistance, just up here. So this tells me that AERO has a lot further to fall. My base case, again, is in this red region. There's no guarantee that holds, but I think it probably will. There's some really strong buying demand for AERO. This project has a lot of popularity, being Coinbase's really first huge project that's not a meme coin, right? The AMM on Coinbase, or the Base ecosystem, not technically Coinbase, but they're layer 2 on ETH. So yeah, that's an encouraging sign if you're waiting to buy AERO, and if you're holding it, well, you're probably gonna have to sit through some more weakness. We also see a bearish cross on the Gunnar EMA that happened on Saturday, April 27th, so just 2 days ago. So yeah, I mean, every sign you look at is pointing to bearish, and I agree, we're getting a dump out here, and a lot of this has to just do with what's going on with Bitcoin. I don't really know of too many altcoins that are doing that well right now. So I just drew some fibs, and you can see that we are approaching the 236 fib, and I'm pretty sure this will break. I am not confident this will hold, but look at our accumulation region is right at the 382, which is a pretty significant level. If the 382 were to fail, which is a possibility, then I would expect the 0.5 to be a fortress of support. Let's see if I can pull up the VRVP and take a look at our horizontal support level and see how it kind of matches up with what the VRVP says. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's it right there. Look at, it's just hot air below till you get to the 382, and then If the 382 fails, I'm not guaranteeing that this is going to hold, then your next stop is going to be the 0.5. And I think the 0.5, you can call this brick wall support. I mean, this is pretty strong support. So I would say best case scenario is you stay inside this window here in the 382. Worst case scenario, we have to come down a little bit further. And I mean, 40 cents, 50 cent AERO, it could happen. Let's take a look at what size corrections those would be. So from the all-time high down to the 382, the top of the 382 would be a 61% correction. The bottom of the 382 would be a 72% correction. And if we somehow made it all the way down here, we're talking an 80% correction. None of those is abnormal for an altcoin, especially a new one. So don't freak out if one of those corrections happens. But I'm really thinking the 382 is probably the more likely stop point. Yeah, and the good news is we're getting kind of close to a bottoming region, I think, on the daily time frame. Stochastic RSI is already turned down about as far as it wants to turn down. It can stay down here for a little while. RSI is trending down. So, again, this points to me thinking that red zone is the most likely target. I feel like I can move on to VELO now because everything's just kind of giving me confluence. This is not a difficult chart to analyze compared to the difficulty I had analyzing it in here, right? I did have some trouble analyzing it there. I made a wrong call on it. But otherwise, AERO's pretty much gone according to plan. And yeah, I think it will continue to do that on the downtrend. All right, this is Velodrome, which is the AMM on Optimism, Optimism being on top of Base, the superchain ecosystem. Velodrome is in a falling wedge right now and just continues to fall. I do own this one, and I bought in probably a little too high, but that's okay. I'm just going to ride it down. Great analyst, but sometimes not the best trader for myself. I get too distracted by my analysis. So that being said, though, you can see that there's a lot of horizontal support inside of this red zone. And yeah, I mean, it looks like we're pretty much almost there. So I feel like there's a fairly good chance we enter into this zone. If we pull up fibs and VRVP on this one, we can probably confirm this red zone is a pretty good target. Before I do that, though, notice there's the bearish cross on the Gunnar EMA. And I'm actually, I want to pull up the HMAs on this one too, so I got a little bit ahead of myself. But it looks like Velodrome is a little bit ahead of Aerodrome in terms of falling. And so what I hope, really hoping for this, is that Velodrome will outperform Aerodrome because it really hasn't had as much upside as Aerodrome has had. It's had upside, just not as much. So I'm kind of hoping that Velodrome will play catch up. Now there's no guarantee that happens. Aerodrome could outperform Velodrome throughout the whole cycle for all we know, but I don't think so. I think there's more upside potential with Velo. Of course, the downside has been pretty brutal so far. How far have we dropped? Let's just take a look. From the top to where we are now, that's already a 60% drop. So, we could go a little bit further down, unquestionably, into the red zone. Top of the red zone is only a 66% drop. Bottom of the red zone would correspond to a 78% drop. Again, either one of these is perfectly normal in an altcoin correction. So, just be aware of that. And surprisingly, the HMA for the 50 and the HMA for the 20-day are turned down. There was a little peekaboo fake out above the 20-day, but that just quickly got sold off. So again, I'm not anticipating quick resolution to this. I think we end up in this accumulation zone. I don't think we're going to go down to 8.5 cents, but somewhere maybe at the top, like 13 cents, 11, 10, even 10 cents is possible. I think that could be a good bottoming region perhaps for Velo. So whereas AERO looked like it might stop at the 382, Velo's already gone below its 382 and is heading for its 0.5. I think there's a chance that Velo makes it down to the 618. Let's turn on some VRVP data to just kind of confirm this, but just looking at it, I guess I don't have it turned on right now. Let's pull it up. So if I pull up the visible range volume profile, you can see that we do have some support where we're at right now. So it is possible we could hold up here. I don't think so. I think we breach this area very low volume, and we probably end up holding the 0.5 somewhere in here. The VRVP is like a brick wall in here. I don't think we go. I mean, honestly, I don't even think we're going to retest these lows. At the very worst, I think we test the 618. And the 618's at about 10 cents. So that's like my worst case scenario. I think it's possible we hold the 0.5. I think there definitely will be a battle there. There's quite a bit of, touch points of resistance that we had before, so maybe we flip that into support. I would like to see that personally, and it would make a lot of sense if that happens. So I'd say somewhere between, I don't know, I think making it down to the 618 is possible, but more so on a wick. I think somewhere around 11 cents to like 13 cents would probably be reasonable for VELO. We're further along with the stochastic RSI. I mean, we're pretty much bottomed out. The RSI has actually been less of a violent downtrend than AERO, but it looks like it still has room to move down. And this RSI might find itself like nearly fully resetting. So like I said, that takes us probably to the 0.5 fib, maybe on a wick to the 618. I'm a little skeptical that we could go down that far. So I think your accumulation range on VELO is probably anywhere around the 0.5 fib. Even now, I mean, I feel like is a reasonable place to probably start DCing into VELO, with the mindset that it could drop a little bit further, like it could go as low as potentially 10 cents. But the danger about waiting for a price target, and this goes for AERO as well, is what if it doesn't happen? So that's why if I had a DCA approach, I would do it dynamically and probably, enter in a little bit. I could enter in a little bit now, and then maybe if it drops another, a certain amount, I'll enter in double. If it drops even more, I'll enter in triple. So something like that, just to make sure you have a position in the asset that you want. Now, the last thing I want to address is I want to do a quick update on AERO versus VELO and see kind of how that looks. You can see that Aerodrome is actually underperforming Velodrome right now in a downtrend. I did point to that really sharp downward movement that AERO had, and VELO was just kind of slow bleeding. So this is like a formation of a double top. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So I think that Velodrome's turn is already here. Velodrome is already outperforming Aerodrome. Granted, it's in a downtrend, so it's not like anything to really celebrate. But I think, like people have asked me, like, should I hold AERO? Should I hold VELO? You could pick one or the other or hold both. I don't really think it matters. They're both great projects. I would not fade Velodrome though, even though it didn't have like the best first half. ETH season is very likely coming up, and we could see Optimism really have a strong second leg. I know a lot of people are fading on Optimism, but they put together a pretty cool product. So I don't know that I would be quick to dismiss Optimism or the base ecosystem in general. So yeah, I think that this trend is most likely going to resolve to the downside. Let's pull up some more technicals to see if that's likely the case. I mean, yeah, you can see stochastic is kind of coming down here. So I guess the question is, when the next leg comes up for AERO or for VELO, which one's going to move first and which one's going to move the hardest? I'm personally betting on Velodrome to kind of pick up some slack sometime in the second half of the year. But I could be wrong. We are heading into a bottoming process in terms of the stochastic RSI, but this can stay low for a little while. And again, this is on a daily time frame, so we don't have enough data to really extrapolate this further out. RSI is starting to come down as well. So we will see AERO and VELO battle with each other. Like we could easily see AERO VELO kind of fall through here. Gaussian turns red for a little while, but then we go back up and AERO starts outperforming VELO again. But I think both of these assets will have their turn. They're both really strong, and I think holding either one makes a lot of sense, or both, heading into the second half of the year. Thanks for joining me for a quick update on Velodrome and Aerodrome price. Just a reminder that nothing I went over is to be considered financial advice. All of my videos are for entertainment and educational purposes only. You and you alone are responsible for hitting that buy and sell button. I have no responsibility for that whatsoever. I do wish you the best though, should you choose to buy either of these assets. We've kind of gone over the ideal accumulation ranges for each one and showed that they're both on similar paths, where VELO is kind of slowed down in its downtrend. AERO is picking up on its downtrend. I feel like they're both going to bottom relatively soon, and then you should have a nice accumulation range to pick some up in case you missed the first time around, and still have a pretty good ROI potential from wherever they land. I'd love for you to join my free Telegram group, the Snick Pit. for daily chart updates, technical analysis, and like I said, a very supportive and inclusive community. We have about 210, 212 people, something like that right now. And yeah, we'd love to have you there. We just do great stuff. And I also have a portfolio management tool that you can ask about when you join. It's free, and I have a video on that as well. So thank you for joining me in the crypto simulation. And please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell to be notified of future releases. I do intend to continue updating AERO and VELO as well as many other projects, so you can be aware of what the most likely outcome of these projects are. All right, folks. Well, thanks again for listening. I hope you have yourselves a great day or night or afternoon, wherever you are in the simulation. Till next time. Bye.